Hey guys, so welcome to today's video, and we are being treated to an absolute spectacular inversion below us here. It is just crazy. We've hiked a couple hours up in the cloud, and just as we were getting up to the top of the summit of Binyon, we kind of came through, and it is absolutely amazing. I just hope that this lasts until sunset. So whenever we arrived here, I probably did the thing that I tell people not to do. Normally I suggest when you arrive at a location, don't just rush up, set up your tripod and start shooting. Have a look around, look at different compositions, look at your foregrounds, look at where the light is, all that kind of stuff. Literally today, we came up through the clouds and I just started shooting. I had the 45 to 100 on. Conditions were absolutely amazing. I had no time to video, I had no time to set them up. I was just running about like a little kid, and it was absolutely amazing. So I guess sometimes it is good to just react to the landscape and just to react to conditions that are happening around you. But yeah, this is extremely special. I've been really itching to get conditions like this in the Mournes for some time, and this is extremely good. So once I've actually composed myself and found a few compositions, I've just been waiting on the light coming out here because the sun has been hidden for a little while, but it is now just slowly beginning to creep out. And what I've done here, I've set up a 16:9 composition because there's quite a lot of wasted foreground here, and what we have is we're shooting back along the headland of Binyon, along the tors back towards Burna and Doan, and Doan is just poking its summit just up above the clouds, which is extremely nice. And there's a little bit of light now just starting to touch along what would be in the foreground of my shot. Now what we have is we've got a couple of paths that lead down into another set of tors, and then another path that leads on to another set of tors. So that is kind of my lead in line, but there's quite a lot of zigzags here. And then behind the far summit of Binyon, we have a beautiful blanket of cloud, and then we have another row of peaks. So we have Mealbeg, Mealmore and Burna behind that. And there's just starting to really slowly just catch a little bit of side light here. So I'm just zoomed, I'm in at about 45mm on this. Now I have an ND grad on because whenever I polarise the scene, one side, this side here on the left hand side was a little bit darker, so I've just pulled the grad in at an angle just to try and counteract that. And oh wow, this is just phenomenal, absolutely amazing. I'm actually really enjoying the fact that the clouds are clearing a little bit now, because there's a little bit more drama. Before it was lovely because obviously you had this massive, just big crazy inversion and a complete, almost like a cotton wool blanket, but you could only really see the peaks, whereas now I actually quite like it because the clouds are almost wrapping around some of the summits and then kind of sinking down into the valley. So because we're getting a little bit of side light that's coming from back there, it's coming across, it's just wow, it's just really Really stunningly beautiful. Wow. So I've been shooting a few panels as well. I've done a few portrait panels and a few landscape panels on this here, just to give me a little bit of flexibility whenever I go to stitch them together, just to see what stitches together. But what I might do now is head back up onto one of the top tors here and see if I can get a wider shot with the 23mm and maybe try and get some nice interesting foreground. But this is just class. One of the things I was going to talk a little bit about in today's video was the enjoyment of landscape photography. And you know, things have been crazy over the last few months and everyone's found it difficult, and you know, we're all experiencing another degree of lockdown and all this here, but to get out to do stuff like this is just so good for the head. It just completely clears the head, and just to be surrounded in all of this beauty, it's just absolutely fantastic. So I've moved back up onto one of the top tors here, and the composition I've found is actually almost the exact same one as I shot here a couple of weeks ago, where we've got these amazing rocks and shapes in the foreground. And back then I had said, one of the things I said, that I thought it was the foreground maybe looked a little bit busy, but what made it probably stand out a little bit was the fact that there was a lot of light and shadow, so it was kind of creating little pools of shade and then a little bright patch and then another bit of shadow. So it's quite an interesting foreground, and I've set up the exact same shot here now in a portrait format. I'm just waiting on, there appears to be, at the moment, behind the furthest peaks, we're actually up above the clouds, there's a thick blanket of cloud, so it seems to be slowly creeping this way. So what I'm hoping for is that it's going to just roll back in again, and the conditions we got earlier we're going to hopefully get again, which I think will really transform this picture. But in the meantime, because we've got some really nice light coming in from this side, I'm still shooting at ISO 100 f16 an eighth of a second. Still just got the grad on, just pulled down at a slight angle just to try and balance out the effect of the polarizer, because I'm shooting quite wide. And I mean, it's a nice scene, it's lovely, the light is really, really nice, but I think we just need a wee bit more. There's something missing now, and I think I've been spoiled earlier with all the clouds that were rolling in, and it just looks so dramatic, and now it just looks a little bit empty. So I'm just going to give this a minute or two and see what happens, because I think those clouds are slowly making their way towards us here. But it's quite interesting that when you visit a location, I knew when I came back here that this was a composition that I could shoot because I had been here before, and I knew where the sun was going to be. What I wasn't completely expecting was the conditions we got earlier. It was extremely hard to predict them today, because the mountain forecast, which is normally really reliable, it was showing the chance of having some low cloud in the valleys and maybe some mist or fog, which was accurate. YR was showing just complete cloud all day, which I guess if you're actually down almost at sea level is probably pretty accurate, because we're actually up above it. AccuWeather was saying for the Mournes was saying sunshine all day. So it was kind of trying to balance and weigh out all of those different forecasts, and you know, the only thing we could do was just jump in the car and come down, hike up and see what it was like, and it was, yeah, totally worth the gamble. But the fact that I knew to come back to this composition because I'd been here before, I guess that's one of the things with landscape photography, is that it is important to revisit locations, always in the search of trying to get them in that perfect weather condition. And because you know the area, then whenever you have those conditions, you know what shot you want to take because you know your composition. So yeah, gonna grab one more, and then I think I'm just gonna chill for a little while and see what happens with these clouds. So as you can see, the clouds are starting to move back in again, which is absolutely amazing. And I've come back down off the tors. I have a feeling that now that we've kind of gone into golden hour, that the shots I'm going to be taking now are going to be all pretty much with the longer lens, and trying to kind of pick in on some of the summits and just kind of watch where the cloud is rolling in and which peaks it's wrapping itself around. And probably what I'll also do is shoot a few panels with the long lens as well. We can actually see the cloud coming in from the north, and actually then some of it has started to come in round from the south as well, so it's almost as if it's just swarming in round. So I'm having to be really conscious not to rush this, because I'm kind of getting a little bit panicky because the light's getting so good. But yeah, this composition, again, I'm using that path that's leading down into one of the other tors, and we're kind of, the focus of it, I guess, is towards the tors of Slieve Burna, which are they're starting to slowly become engulfed in cloud. But I'm really tempted to head back over and try and reshoot the panel that I shot earlier on, and just have the really nice sweep of the mountains, because there's an awful lot of cloud coming in on the right hand side here, which I'm actually not getting in the shot because I'm focusing in on the more interesting peaks. So yeah, it's a bit of an interesting one. I think it is just a case of trying to pick out little details as opposed to going for the big vista. I'm a little bit undecisive. Right, I'm becoming very indecisive here, as I said. I've moved back round almost to where I shot earlier on. Now, the good thing now is there's actually cloud starting to come up the left hand side of the valley. So it's creeping into the frame from the right, and it's also creeping up into the left. So if that keeps creeping up in through, wow, this could be extremely good. So what I've done, I've put my crop again back to 16:9, just so that I can try and imagine what this panel is going to look like. And we've got Doan, we've got Mourne, we've got Millbeg, Mourne, Burna, and then the cloud is just starting to roll up in through. So I think I'm just going to have to sit here, keep this composition, and just wait, because I think over the next, we've probably got about 35-40 minutes until sunset. I reckon over the next half hour this scene is going to completely change. So I think what I'm going to do is just sit and wait, and as I said earlier, just enjoy being out in conditions like this. Yeah, the photography is amazing, you know, I'm here to get shots, but just to be out and to witness something like this is just absolutely amazing. So I think I'm going to end the video just a little bit shorter maybe than I had anticipated, because I just need to concentrate on this here. I need to just take it in, just enjoy the moment of it, and hopefully I will have a lot of really nice images to share with you guys. So as always, thanks so much for watching. Thanks for liking, for commenting, for subscribing and sharing, and I will see you in the next video.